Welcome back for this episode of 4th and 3 Dudes, episode number 16, the post-SEC Championship edition. I'm Chris Nama coming to you from here in rainy Peachtree Corners, Georgia. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Chris Burnett, Bernie Dawg, sitting here in St. Mary's, Georgia.
Bernie, why is there such a pause between Chris and you? You know you're always number two.
Hey.
It's just my 16th episode. Well, 16.5 since we had to re-record.
Yeah, and I am Cord, and I am coming live from the College Football Committee playoffs. See? It's a Mickey Mouse outfit.
All right. Oh,
what the hell is that? Is that?
See, I'm hot, just like Georgia.
He's a dude, man. The dude
abides. The dude abides.
I thought that was Keanu Reeves and John Wick or something.
No, we did not go there. All right, well, I am going with the Eagle Rare because it was such a fantastic SEC championship game. We need to go ahead and toast to it with that.
Makers and ginger ale.
Jeez, was that a gallon?
Yeah. Well, a lot of ice. Well, we started with a lot of ice. That was like 45 minutes ago.
The icy cord?
Is that a Cabernet?
Oh, yeah. A fine Cabernet. It's from 2025. Good year.
Man. Back to the future. Wait, no. Forward to the future. All right. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into this weekend's glorious results. So, again, Georgia was able to come out on top, facing off against mighty – I almost said Kentucky. I don't even know why, because he's the whole Kentucky
thing. He's going to Kentucky.
Facing off against Texas. So, I mean, again, what do you think about Georgia-Texas Part 2?
It was better than Part 1. And, Part 1 pretty awesome. But that was it was the feel-good movie of the season. I mean, it had all the drama. Defense played so well. I mean, not perfectly, but to hold them. I mean, I think I saw earlier tonight they had one punt in the second half. That was their only punt. And we held.
Before the punter got taken out.
No, Texas had one punt.
Oh.
Our defense, held them and just wouldn't let them in the end zone. Yeah. And that was so key. And it's not being overlooked, but because of all the drama on the offensive side, which we'll get to, the defense did so well and continued to pressure Quinn Ewers. I think Sark got in over his head. I really thought, we talked about it last week. I thought he should have played Arch more. He brought him in some
gadget plays.
That was a cameo.
The snap between his legs to the running back Blue was a great call. I thought that was pretty unique, but I thought they could have really got us in over our heads defensively by putting in Arch. But offensively, you just can't say any more. I mean, we've been talking about it every week. Kirby's been talking about it every week. It's resiliency, and that team has showed it over and over again. And Saturday night they showed it tenfold. It was heartfelt. It was awesome, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Yes, no, I definitely need to watch it again from the beginning. But yeah, I mean, it was the tale of the drops again early on in the game. But yeah, I mean, the way that the offense was able to put things together when they had to, and like you said, the defense doing what it needed to do, the bend but don't break, make Sideshow Bob try to kick field goals. And luckily he could kick them very well. Yeah. Luckily he could. It's either that or Carrot Top, but I think Cord had it with Sideshow Bob when he was over here watching the game. That was a better way to do it. But yeah, it was a great effort. But yeah, I mean, our defensive front, I mean, in 2 games against Texas, we put up 7 sacks in the first game, 5 sacks in this game, 10 tackles for loss in the first game, 15 tackles for loss in this game. I mean, it's like the front was putting up on so much pressure on Ewers. It was pretty amazing, and it was just The unfortunate times we didn't get the pressure, of course, were the times that he seemed to manage to hook up with somebody for a big chunk play, but luckily that didn't happen on our side of the field very often.
And Texas didn't help themselves with like 8 penalties for 80 yards in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know when you guys want to talk about the offense.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Cord.
9 yards offense versus 193 at one point in the first half. Georgia was so lucky to be so close.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, it could have been 21-0.
Oh, easily.
Or more. Yeah. Or more.
Yeah. And then, and then the deep ball with Golden against Daniel Harris. My goodness. In the beginning of the game, that was going to be all day.
Yeah.
So that's what I was concerned about is, our defense, they have to be right every time. If they're wrong one time, we get a touchdown scored. But our offense, I mean, goodness, they were stuffing. They had a good game plan to stuff our offense in the first half. And it's not like Georgia's offense was committing a bunch of penalties.
No,
it was the tale of two halves. I mean, we kind of flipped the script the second half, and you held them to less than 100 yards, I think, total in the second half, and we kind of started to move the ball. And I think really to me, the key drive in the second half was that field goal drive to go up, 16-13, because that's, again, resilient. So they stopped us. We lost our punter already. So we ran a fake punt. We fumbled it twice. I mean, it goes off of Anthony Evans' face mask right into his hands. I mean, you can't talk about a better break. And then, Nama mentioned the drop. Arian Smith, he didn't have a great game the first half, especially. But if he doesn't recover that fumble by Frazier near the goal line, I mean, that's a key play right there. He just jumped on it, and that saved our ass. So we went up 16-13, and the defense was able to hold them to a field goal late and went to overtime. And so it was. I agree, Cord, that we did not have our best game in the first. We showed that we're slow starters again on offense in the first half and did what we could, but the defense again, they just bowed up and they were ready to play all 4 quarters and more.
Yeah. No, that was definitely that fumble recovery by Arian Smith. Yeah, that's something that does need to be talked about a little bit more. He did a lot of the little things well in this one. He did catch the very first ball that was thrown to him. I think the first play of the game he caught that ball, but I mean, he did I think he caught Gunner's first pass in the second half. But yeah, recovering that fumble was huge because I mean, if we lost that thing there, that was going to be
game over.
Not be good. But the other play that needs to be talked about is Lawson Lucky's play on defense. I mean, when Gunner did throw that interception, when the only time that he truly looked like a person didn't have very much action in a football game, and he tried to throw that ball away, I think, and threw it right to Texas.
Yeah.
And then Lucky made that tackle on the sideline to when their Texas players were already celebrating they thought it was going to be a walk-in touchdown for a pick six.
Yeah, I really thought when he picked that ball off, it was going back. I mean, it just felt like there weren't enough red jerseys in the area code to send that out of bounds. But you're right. That was I forgot about that. That was such a key play to get him out of bounds. As few yards as possible.
Yeah. And of course, the biggest play of the game that is going to affect us moving forward is that last play of the first half when Carson Beck sustained his injury. Especially with how much as Holly Rowe was talking about how long we could kick a field goal. I was really wanting us to kick a field goal there at the end of the half.
Me too. Yeah.
So
absolutely agree.
That was a little bit perplexing, but I mean, the flip side of that, you really wish Carson had a little bit more of a clock in his head, knowing that he had to get rid of that ball a little bit sooner. But
unless you have eyes in the back of your head, it's kind of hard to see that if you don't have peripheral vision on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But I agree, Nam. I was thinking the same thing. They kept talking about Peyton Woodridge and his success in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it wasn't. What was it? Maybe 5 yards further than he kicked one against Clemson early in the season. I mean, it wasn't a lot of yardage. I guess I get it. Go for the Hail Mary and just see what happens. But
it'd have been 57 yards, I think. 57 and 58 was what would have been. Because especially when we got that last play.
It worked. It worked out in the end. I mean, I hate to see Carson go down. I think he's been kind of someone to kind of throw under the bus all season. And he's a great quarterback. I think we've talked about his flaws and kind of warming up, getting into the games, is kind of slow starting. But I mean, we lead the nation in drop balls. So if you add half of those drop balls in, where is he in the nation? I mean, it's sad to see him go down, but it was such a great story for Saturday night when Kirby talked about the locker room erupting when Gunnar Stockton was coming in, because he's a Georgia boy, and I think Kirby really relates to him as a a country Georgia quarterback, football player, and that really ignited the whole team for the second half. It was amazing to see it. Yeah, I'm not kidding when it was such a special drama to see unfold before your eyes as a Georgia fan. It was a special night.
It's the Tua moment.
Yeah. Nama said that on the text thread.
I know. I did, but I mean, all that.
You can say it's a Tua moment. You can say it's a Hurts moment, because we had both.
Yeah, that is true. But the biggest halftime adjustment was actually made in my basement. So we went into halftime, and then we were there, and then all of a sudden, I've got props too.
Hell!
a brown bag. A brown bag appeared. I'm like, what is this brown bag? It was discussed by Meg and Cord when they got there, and Meg's making sure Cord.
I brought a jar with a pickle in it.
Didn't forget it. So then this came out.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture.
Oh yeah,
the light.
I mean, again, the light.
Describe it for the listeners, Nama.
I mean, for the listeners who can't see it, it's looks like a glass growler jar with a beautiful Georgia G on it, nice ribbon, and it's got the Christmas lights inside of it. To go ahead and set the framework for that, at the beginning of the season, I had one that was a much skinnier version in my basement bathroom that always is there, that I always turn on during football games. It's one of those things, just like everybody's got game day boxers. Well, everybody should. But anyway, but something happened toward the end of the summer. I'm not sure if it was Katie's friends. Not sure if it was Gabby's friends. It definitely wasn't my friends. But that bottle got dropped to the ground, broken, and swept under the sink.
Maybe he won't see it.
And yeah, so I say I wouldn't see it. And it's one of those things where I got there for the Clemson game, the first game of the season. I'm like, where the hell's my light? And it wasn't there. And so I eventually found it, and it had been one of those things where, what could have been? I mean, that may be this light was going to help the receivers see the ball to be able to catch more passes over the course of the season.
Track it into your hands, yeah.
But
the old one was like the leg lamp. He was trying to scotch tape it together. He was sad.
Didn't work.
Yeah, he was out playing taps in the backyard, I heard one time.
Yeah, but so the Trambles were able to make things whole again in the basement, and actually got the supersized version of the bottle. So, I mean, again.
That's the Nama size version.
It is. It is the Nama size version.
And all is right in the world.
And then there was Gunnar Stockton.
My goodness. I can't believe Georgia beat Texas. That kid got his head torn off his body. And then Beck came in with one arm and beat him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and back up to that, because he got, let's just say, he got knocked the fuck out, and he held on to the ball. I saw a tweet today where in his dreams he's like, hold on to the ball, and went down. And I don't know how he did it. I agree, it wasn't targeting, but that was such a brutal hit, and he
was
just
old
took
school.
it. And then you're right. We were talking about it, I think, when Cole was on the phone. But I mean, Dan was saying Pooge was the next one in, and then Carson said, "I can hand the ball off." And regardless of which quarterback he sends in to hand the ball off, because Gunner can't go in because his helmet came off, they know it's a run.
Yeah.
And, you know, Chambliss at fullback blocks that linebacker 5 yards deep in the end zone. I mean, they knew it was a run. This is one of the best defenses in the nation. And like I said, I keep going back to it, but this was like the feel good movie of the season. It's just, you can't draw it up any better. And again, I hate to see the injuries, but yeah, I agree, Cord. It's great to put Horns down for 2 times a season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it might be 3.
Might be 3.
You never know. You never know.
Oh my gosh, they'll be begging to go back to the Big 12.
Mm-hmm. And I was happy for Etienne too. Or Etienne, for him to be able to get those 2 touchdowns to back up his 3 touchdowns. So
at the beginning of the second half, I missed this on the live version, but saw it later, the second time we watched it. But the beginning of the second half, we get the ball, and Etienne standing next to Stockton and just kind of pats him, and he pats him back, and it's just like, you should have known then the game was over.
We got you, man.
The whole team had that dude, and it was just great. Yeah. I could go on all night.
It did.
I think Georgia Tech could beat Texas.
They could.
They maybe they could.
Well, they're better unless they play Arch Manning. For sure.
Yeah. So, but I mean, again, it's one of those that, I mean, now at least with Carson probably being out most likely for the rest of the playoffs, I mean, at least, I don't know. Well, I mean, there might be a shred of hope somewhere. But anyway, at least we got at least 24 days to put in a game plan.
Joint for a right-handed quarterback.
You think?
Just saying.
You think? Well, anyway, we got a lot of time to
take that together.
It's almost like a full spring practice or a fall camp, which is the other good thing about it in terms of the time you actually have to be able to put in a game plan for him, which I think is going to need to be more like the game plans we used to have for Bennett, because that is one of the things about Gunner. Yeah. I mean, I think he needs to be more rolling out or get outside the pocket again, he's more mobile, but I mean, he's kind of like Bennett, a little bit height challenged. At least it sure.
Yeah, you mentioned on the text thread, and that's a good point, because there were a couple of times that Delp was like wide open, but he like you said, he couldn't see him, and so I trust Boba to come up with a plan, an installment for Gunner.
Oh yeah,
they probably already have it, to be honest. They had
Bobo to make sure
they had the 3rd string holder.
Yes,
because we lost Beck and Thorson.
Right,
holder for they had to tell Gunner, no, you're still out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Etienne scored a touchdown, but you're still out there. You got to hold the ball. So I know they're going to be prepared and ready, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Bubba's kid can hold.
Mm-hmm. He's the best passer we have in the University of Georgia history.
He's 1 for 1.
He can snap, he can block, he can hold.
Yep. That was a pretty special moment. I'm sure that was interesting. I wonder if they had that in the game plan to begin with before Thorson went out. And so,
yeah, I just love Kirby's dig. He'll go down in SEC history with a better passing percentage than his dad.
Than any Georgia quarterback. But
that's brutal.
Yeah.
So, what y'all think of the playoff seedings, so to speak? What do y'all think going forward?
I mean, I love our half of the draw. I mean, you look at that, and you've got Notre Dame, Indiana, Penn State, Boise State, and who's the other one? Who's Penn State playing? Who's got to go to Happy Valley? Oh, SMU. SMU. So, I mean, those are the 5 teams. You got to get through 2 of those to be able to make it all the way onto our side of the championship bracket. So, I like our odds there for sure.
So, how do you feel about automatic bids versus the best team?
I think that'll be corrected next year.
I think
Namo, I mean, maybe you both watched it, but Saban made the particular point that it should be, conference champions get in, but then you just seed it according to rankings because, Boise State, I'm sorry, they had a great season. They got a great player, but they should not be 3.
But they're a conference champion.
Right. But you're asking
conference champion or no?
That doesn't mean they have to be the 3 seed and getting a bye.
Right.
I think there's something to say. I agree with Saban that there's something to say about strength of schedule.
So no auto bids, right?
No, that's not what he's saying.
Right.
What are you saying?
He's saying that if you win your conference championship, you get one of the 12 slots, but it does not guarantee you a bye.
Based on the rankings. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, again, if you kept it more like what the rankings were, what they determined, it was Oregon, us, then was number 3 was, I think, Notre Dame. What was the final? Notre Dame was 3, and then Texas.
I forget the rankings, but yeah, it wasn't Boise State that high, and then you had.
No, Boise State was like 12 or 10.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's too big of a jump. So I think we play it out this year and see how it goes, and then they'll correct. And the biggest ramification that I see is I agree putting SMU ahead of Bama. They went to their conference championship. I agree their strength of schedule. I think Bama's a better team, but I want to see conference championships stay in the mix. So I think that they'll correct some things to kind of find a happy mix. And I hope it doesn't mean expanding it because I think it's too big to begin with. But, Bama's a better team, but SMU played a great game in their championship game.
So how would you compare that to basketball? There's no conference championships in that, right? Those are just...
No, there is. If you win a conference championship in basketball, you get in, but then you're put wherever your ranking will be in the field of 68. So,
right,
which is what Saban said. There's no other NCAA tournament that is like this. I mean, This is an aberration. I think he made a great point about that. But it's the first season, and I think they got it right this year. I know there could be some differences. I mean, change of opinion. I mean, I think they were going to lose one way or the other with Bama or SMU. But I agree with Namo. The bottom line for us, we got the better seating, we got a better draw. I think it was important to get that win so we could have a bye, especially with the injuries we sustained in the championship game. And like we said, we got to put in a new system for a new quarterback. And I like our chances. I think we showed that we can beat anybody. I mean, who else? I mean, Oregon, maybe underestimating Penn State, but I was surprised that Oregon did not put away Penn State the way that I thought they would.
Oregon's not that good.
I mean, their defense is
overrated.
I think that's what we showed. I think Texas's defense is very legit. I think they are one of the best in the nation, talent-wise, and I think we showed we can beat anybody if we can just put it all together.
Yeah, and I was wrong. I misspoke. But if you did it along the lines of what Bernie was saying with the Saban things, Oregon ended up 1 in the college football rankings. We were 2. Texas was 3, and Penn State was 4. So they would have been the 4 teams that got the bye. Then number 5, Notre Dame would have played against
Clemson.
Number 12, Clemson. Then Ohio State was number 6.
Arizona State.
And we played Arizona State. Then Tennessee was 7, and we'd be playing against SMU. And then Indiana would be against Boise State.
See, and I think that would be better if you don't have the automatic conference buys.
Right. You
do it by the rankings.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we're saying.
I mean, Boise State has no business having a bye.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, again, and that's the whole thing. So, I mean, I think we're all in agreement now that you you understand what Bernie was saying. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that will be what they probably adopt, whether or not they go to the 14 team and make it just so the 1 and 2 seed have the bye. That was the other thing they've been talking about, but we got a while before that will actually come to pass. So,
yeah, for this year, I think it's going to be about depth. It's going to be about coaches that know how to prepare. And I think you, as a Georgia fan, you have to like our chances. I think Dan Lanning, the Ducks, I think they're used to this. Ryan Day is used to this, but I mean, what are they going to do?
He's used to losing.
So I think for this year, it's going to be fun to see it play out. I mean, we've been talking about it and like projecting it, and yeah, there's some good games there the first round. It's going to be interesting to see some home games in the playoffs, and see how that works out and how that factors in. The biggest one, I think, SEC wise, we've beaten Tennessee, and they have to go up to Ohio State, right? And I think that's a pretty even game on a level field, but up there, if Ohio State starts strong, I think, they win. I think that's a big draw for some teams that don't go to their conference championship to play at home. And
Ohio State's totally going to win, dude. I can look at this and pick like 12 locks of my week right now.
I mean,
you're getting it.
It's going to be Georgia and Oregon, January 10th or whatever day it is.
20th.
Yeah. Okay. Lock it in.
I mean, flip side of it. I mean, I'm kind of with Kirk Herbstreit on that Ohio State thing. They probably would have rather have been the 9th seed and go somewhere else, because, I mean, if you're going in there, even if you're playing in a cold weather game, I mean, Sampson's legit for Tennessee. He is much better than what this version of Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson or any of those Ohio State people have turned out to be. So, I mean, I honestly think that Tennessee has a chance to boat race them. And if that thing starts going sideways, the Ohio State fans are going to turn on that team and Ryan Day so fast. I mean, it's going to be one of the night game, the last night game on that Saturday. I think it's a Saturday of that first round of the playoffs. So, right. I mean, and Tennessee's in cold too. Granted, maybe if it's the snow, they're not going to necessarily be as used to that if that's what it turns out to be. But, man, I think it's going to make Tennessee run more, so it takes the pressure off whatever his name is, Amalieva, to worry about the passing game as much. And I think that Tennessee's front is good enough to be able to hang with Ohio State. And Ohio State can't freaking pass the ball to save their life. Or at least not that I've seen.
Neither can Tennessee. I mean, let's be honest.
I know. I know. I agree. But I think Tennessee's front's better than Ohio State's front. So I think the chance for Sampson to be running over them is a better chance. But anyway.
But I think the committee got it right. They got the right matchups on TV to make the money. That's the ultimate goal for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the right teams at home.
Indiana, Notre Dame, really?
And I mean,
the battle for the Hoosier State, maybe.
I think
no one's going to watch that game.
I think the committee did what they needed to do.
Okay, I'm sorry. The whole state of Indiana is going to watch that game, and that's it.
Well, it's not a night game, right? I mean, there's certain time slots. I mean, if we were going to host a game, we were going to be a Friday night or Saturday night game. That's the bottom line. Because we were
playing any day they want. No one's going to watch it except for Indiana.
Man, the whole country watches that game just to hate it.
Rudy might watch it. He'll probably be on the sidelines in McConaughey's buckskin jacket.
I'll watch it. Hell yeah, I will.
You got to scout our opponent.
Going back to their decision making, I think the biggest thing for me was which conference between the Big 12 and the SEC would get 4 teams. And Nama mentioned it earlier in the season. He's the first one I heard mention it.
Big 10.
Ward Manuel, Michigan commissioner. They got Indiana in ahead of Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. So any one of those teams would beat Indiana like
a drum.
And but they didn't get in. And yeah, we can argue about that, but this is what we got. Mickey Mouse T-shirt from Cord. So, and it's all that's right. It's all about the ratings. It's all about the TV. So it should. I just hope it makes for some good TV.
You don't think Alabama and Notre Dame would draw more than Indiana Notre Dame?
I do, Cord, but this is what we got.
Well, you said it was better for TV. I totally disagree. It's a fraud.
Well, just for the record,
what I said was I think they got the TV matchups they wanted by appeasing the people they wanted to appease.
No, they're frauds.
And I don't think SMU is better than Alabama, but Alabama lost to Oklahoma. Not just lost to Oklahoma, but got trounced by Oklahoma.
Damn.
So, I mean, you could look at that play. I mean, this is what I was worried about with the playoffs expanded. Regular season matchups wouldn't matter. So now you can look at Alabama, Oklahoma as a playing game, and they fucking lost it.
Yeah,
they did not show up. Milroe was replaced, like Nama said last week, right? Jackson Arnold basically replaced Milroe.
They switched brains.
And now Alabama's going to the Reliant Bowl, ReliaQuest
to play the 6-6 Michigan.
Yeah,
and they got passed over in the Citrus Bowl for South Carolina. So the Citrus Bowl had an option to take whichever.
Which is the right decision.
Team. Oh no, I agree.
South Carolina's the one team you don't want to play,
right? Besides Georgia, but no, I mean, and again, Alabama wouldn't have been playing against Notre Dame, but actually Notre Dame is the only game on that Friday night. It's the night game on the Friday. Then the early game on the Saturday is the Penn State game. Then it's the Ohio State, Tennessee, or no, the SMU. Oh, which one's second?
Well,
Texas,
none are on the
Texas
CW.
Clemson.
I mean,
not on the CW.
All I got to say.
Yeah, Penn State, SMU is the noon game. Clemson, Texas is the 4:00 game, and Tennessee, Ohio State's the night game on that Saturday.
But now, going forward, why would you schedule a tough game out of conference?
The out-of-conference games haven't been the issue, which was, I mean, again, that's one of those things, the other part of the argument, there wasn't an out-of-conference game that tripped up any of those teams. It was all conference games.
Well, what about Texas? They haven't played anybody.
Well, but they didn't play anybody, and they got in. But, I mean,
right.
Alabama didn't. Point. Well, Alabama didn't play anybody.
Why would you risk losing to an out-of-conference team and just go with Texas' schedule?
Well, I mean, again, Alabama basically did. I mean, the thing was that the Texas doesn't, or Alabama doesn't control their conference schedule. The conference schedule is what tripped them up. Their out-of-conference schedule sucked. They played nobody. They played South Florida. They played Mercer. They played, two other Sisters of the Poor. They played nobody out of conference. So they already did that.
It all comes down to money. I mean, so, if Georgia, let's look at Georgia's season. If they overcorrect and they say, we're not going to schedule a Clemson and a Chick-fil-A kickoff bowl and get all this money, we're going to schedule this team. And then fans just, well, screw it. I'm not going to see them play Charleston Southern at home in 96-degree heat, end of August. Yeah. So it all comes down to money. And I think there's going to be corrections. I'm just not sure. It's going to be interesting to see whether there's overcorrections towards the playoffs, towards NIL, towards the portal opening today. I mean, it's just there's so much going on.
The portal's the issue.
Not with that group. Did you see the video of them sitting in that little conference room watching the game?
Yeah.
No beer, no chicken wings. They're sitting there like they're watching paint dry.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll be us next year.
It was disgusting.
We'll change that.
We can change that. We can
smoke some wings.
Let's go.
Y'all can brew some beer.
You got that right? All right. Well, anything else for right now? Yeah, we need to go ahead and wrap this up because I guess we're going to figure out when we're going to come back. I'm going to be having some surgery next week, so I'm going to be out of commission. So unless we might have to wait to come back unless we do it this weekend or or on Monday next week.
I think we should record while you're on anesthesia. Can we do that?
That could be, well, except for the fact I've got to hit the record button. I have to be able to see it.
Hey, we can do it from the recovery room, Bernie.
There you go. You can just come and ask me questions there.
Send Aunt B some
we need more fentanyl.
Yep. So we'll maybe we can get together. We'll do a quick the preview of the first round of the playoffs next Monday if that works out. Sunday night or Monday, so we can do that before I go into the knife, and then we can come back the following week to preview who or once we found the results in a week or two later or right after Christmas. Bring everybody the Christmas present they want. Another episode of 4th and 3 Dudes.
What more could you ask for?
What more could you want?
3 lumps of coal. fourth and 3 lumps of coal.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm Jewish. Don't get me something.
Yeah.
Not Jewish.
Goodness gracious. All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So congratulations to the Dawgs. Oh, wait. We didn't talk about our locks of the week. I mean, again,
our locks of the week.
We all won.
So, I mean, again.
So Cord had Oregon -3.5. Nam had the Dawgs. He took the points, 2.5. I took him on the money line, so I get like 5 extra points.
No, there's no extra points.
So I think that pulls me into a tie with Cord.
You pushed it? You pressed? Pressed coming out of the line?
The best news is we all won. I went 4-0 this weekend. I went 4-0.
I thought I did. I clicked that wrong. I clicked the wrong one. Damn it to hell.
Yeah, Clemson, Oregon, the Dawgs on the money line, and I took Boise State on Cord's recommendation.
Should take an Arizona State too, man. That's scatterboo.
I know, right? That was
all right. Well, we can get into that. We'll get into that next week. So if you've hung around this long, we appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll come back to you sometime soon. So until then, go Dawgs.
Go Dawgs.
Sip cold beer.